All right, y'all. You know what is going down. One of my favorite segments we got on the Morning Hustle Show. Believe the hype with our girl. I am legally hype. And we have so much to talk about this week. Let's make some noise for yourself. Legally hype.
That's right. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready. I'm ready for the weekend, for real.
I know that's right. So we're going to get straight into it. You know how it goes. You always help us break down the situations and understand them in a legal friendly manner. Now, this time, there was a tragic death that happened just this past weekend with rapper Trouble. He actually was shot to death at the age of 34. Now, come to find out, he was sleeping while the intruder came into the home, who was the ex boyfriend of the woman that he was there to see. Now, this man has since turned himself in. His name is Jamichael Jones. Can you tell us what Jamichael Jones is looking forward to receiving or what's going on in his situation?
Yeah, okay, so boom. So the defendant in this case, he just had a bond hearing the other day, and the judge was like, you're gonna have to stay here. He did get a bond on a domestic dispute, so some sort of like domestic battery, because that's a misdemeanor in Atlanta. But in terms of the murder, and I think it was also like an attempted murder, there's no bond on that. So he's gonna sit in jail until it's time for him to go to trial at this point. This is likely going to be a first degree felony murder, right? So he's going to be looking at life, possibly life without, depending on what his background look like and the facts that come into the case.
Right.
But he might be facing a very long time for what he did.
Yeah, and they said he broke into the home, but he did reside at that home just 1 week before. And him and the woman were together for 3 years and apart for one. And apparently they had some messages where she actually told him, come and get his stuff. And it was like on social media, but she still proceeded to invite another man into her home. Now, when it comes to as far as with the woman, does she play any kind of part in this situation? Will she face anything for her part that she played in the situation as well?
Okay, so boom, it's going to depend on the evidence that they have to show, like if she had any intentional level of participation, if she knew like this was going to happen, if maybe it was a setup of some sort, like the text messages, they're probably going through the phones right now, downloading the iClouds, trying to see what messages, even if you try to delete them, they're still going to pull up.
Right.
They will go through all of that and see if there's anything that suggests that she possibly contributed to this unfortunate death. But this also goes into play on why he was denied bond, right? Because the judge was like, well, you're a danger to the victims in this case, especially if this is a domestic dispute, especially if you broke into someone's house, right? If you are no longer a resident here for one reason or another, you cannot just be walking up in my crib for any reason.
Right.
So if he was an uninvited guest, right, or not a guest, right, if he's an uninvited person into the home, you are in violation, and so you're out of pocket, and that's going to contribute to your felony murder charge.
And hypothetically, let's just say he is claiming self-defense in any kind of way, because 9 times out of 10, that's what the murderer or whatever always claims, self-defense. Do you feel like he would be able to use that as to help him get a plea or something?
Well, self-defense from what? If the victim was sleeping,
Right.
If your victim was sleeping, so what were you defending yourself from? Even if you were defending yourself, let's say from the female, right? If you were defending yourself from her, you still hit like a victim who had nothing to do with your situation.
Right.
So in that case, like you're not defending yourself. You have to be able to overcome that and prove like you were in harm's way. You thought, the force that you used were reasonable because you thought something bad was going to happen to you. What was going to happen? This man was asleep. I mean, I know we all watched The Walking Dead and we probably losing it because of COVID, but no, he was asleep.
Yeah.
So it's very unlikely that a judge would let that slide.
And what about turning himself in? Does that give him any kind of grace? Because he's charged with home invasion, felony murder, and aggravated assault. His mother convinced him to turn himself in. They were looking for him for about 2 days. Does that say anything because he turned himself in?
The only thing it says is that you save the state some money from having to continue to look for you. At the end
Period.
of the day,
Right.
the crimes that you're allegedly involved in, right? You are still going to face the consequences of that. Just because you turned yourself in doesn't mean you're a good person. I mean,
That's right.
that's just the reality. It doesn't mean we're going to look at you and feel sympathy for you because we didn't have to keep searching for you. You still was gone on the run for
That's right.
2 days,
That's right. You
right? Like,
shot him
so
and
we,
ran. You knew what you did.
yeah.
You know
So
what you
no,
did.
I highly doubt that that's going to mitigate any of the punishment that he is facing right now.
Right. Well, rest in peace to Trouble. And
Yes,
we want to send our thoughts and prayers out to his family, fans, and
definitely.
friends. Very beloved person in the community of Atlanta, that's for sure.
I only
Let's
met him once, so
Yeah, he was
but
an
he was
amazing
nice.
person. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Chrisleys, right? Todd and Julie
Uh,
Chrisley. What's the name of their show again? Keeping Up with the Chris. No, that's the
it's a,
Kardashians. Chrisley knows best.
yeah. There you
Chrisley
go.
knows best. Now, this man and his wife are now facing 30 years on conspiracy to defraud the bank out of $30 million. Not
Hmm.
only that, tax crimes, including defrauding the IRS, wire fraud, obstruction of justice. Oh my goodness. They're set to get sentenced on October 6th. Legally hype, what is going to happen in this situation?
Okay, so boom. Not these white folks out here busting checks and got caught.
Forget
It
PPP
got
loan.
busted. Okay, it was busting checks and got busted for real. Okay.
Hmm.
Then, it's shady too. I
Are
was
they from
listening to
Brooklyn? Brooklyn scammers.
right. Okay, for real. So look, they knew best, but they didn't know better because they definitely got caught, and they are facing up to 30 years in prison right now for what they did.
30 years.
30 years. So all y'all folks that was doing them PPP loans and stuff, get your paperwork right. I tried to tell you in the beginning,
You
get your
did.
paperwork right. So yeah, okay, so boom, let me tell you the little tea though. So
Yeah.
apparently one of their homeboys that they was working with in the beginning, they have fired him or let him go, some beef in the family. So he ended up telling the feds on them. Yes, and he made a deal with the feds, and the feds was like, "Tell us some more. What's good?" They were investigating this family for years. Okay, so these folks, yes, these folks was going to the bank, telling the bank they had money. Then they was running over to Uncle
Mm.
Sam, telling Uncle Sam they didn't have nothing. Okay, they was hiding their businesses and their granny name and some more stuff. So all of that came out.
No.
Yes. When they got to trial, it was receipts that they were sending messages back and forth talking about fix this, you know, go ahead and screenshot, fix that. Okay, edit that, wipe that out right there. It was a whole thing.
Now, is this the
Then,
accountant
okay.
though? Is that the
No,
account
okay,
Peter?
right. Not he didn't even come in yet. So the accountant,
Oh,
so the accountant, he had got hidden on something they did with the business, right? Trying to act like they wasn't getting as much money as they was getting in the business. They was playing hide and go seek and stuff with the business funds. So that's how he ended up getting into the mix. But the homeboy allegedly, he talking about him and Chris was boyfriend for a minute. Yes.
I
And
was
then
gonna say not
yes.
to say anybody acts or you can tell just off of that. But when I first seen this show, I was like, this man got a boyfriend or who's this woman? They like this
Mm.
is his wife. I'm like, is it? So you saying that to me, I'm not surprised at all.
I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm not either because I had the same like question, like you said, not trying to judge a book by its cover, but I was like, oh, okay, he seemed like maybe he played for both
He's
teams. You
very
feel me?
feminine. He's very
Yeah,
feminine.
and that's fine. Do you? And so yeah, the homeboy was like, that was my boyfriend, and we broke up. And apparently, Chris tried to say that ain't true. But why should we believe you after we've been seeing you Photoshop all your bank statements?
Damn, and he know too much tea to
He
not
knew
be in your
all
mix.
the tea. Yes, he knew all the tea.
Yeah.
Yes, and it came out in court, and them folks is facing 30 years in prison. So y'all gonna go ahead on them houses you claim you had, little residences and stuff. Get rid of them. Get your kids some money so they can put some money on your books because you're gonna be sitting down for a minute.
Oh my! So if you had one prediction of how long they might get, and FYI, the wife has more charges than Todd. Julie
Mm-hmm,
has more charges than Todd. If you had to predict, like roughly, right?
mm-hmm.
How many years is Todd getting? How many years is Julie getting? And how many is the accountant Peter getting?
If I had to guess, it's a federal crime too. I honestly, I would give Todd probably finna get about 15, right? The wife, she looking at probably like 15 to 20 if it was me. And then the accountant, I'm not sure exactly how much he facing, but you got a whole like certification and stuff for that. So you gonna get at least 5 to 10 on that one.
Woo!
You know what I mean? Yeah,
They better
that's
start
just
telling
me.
on somebody.
Because you was stealing money from the little banks, and now the people who was banking with that bank got to cover the money that you didn't have. So you're out of line and go ahead and sit down. The only problem is now we get to pay for your lifestyle again because you're gonna be three
That's
hots in a
right.
cot in the feds.
That's
So
right. Damn, how greedy could you be? You got a big hit TV show, mad endorsements and deals, and you still out there stealing, and people out there just struggling to pay their gas prices. Now you have been on the gas company's neck, right? And now some people have been actually giving you some backlash. Now, can you update us on what's going on and how you've been informing the people about these gas prices? And they're saying they're going to continue to rise.
yeah, okay, so boom. So this the deal. Lord, they came for my neck on the internet.
Yeah,
I was like,
what
I
is
figured I didn't
up?
even say that. I didn't even say that. So this the deal. So basically the gas companies is like, look, we had already contracted out how much gas we was gonna pump for y'all, right? During this
Mhm.
little time period we got right now. That's how we roll. We plan, we make a plan, we say this about how much we gonna need, this about how
Mhm.
much we could drill, we get all that in order, and then we do what we do. So all this wishy-washy back and forth, y'all, first we had too much oil, you feel me? Now we need some more because y'all beefing with different countries and now we got to share our supply and stuff. We don't move when you tell us to move. That's not how
Right.
this works, right? So I guess people was like, okay, well, they still raising the prices. And the gas people was like, we don't care. That don't got nothing to do with us, right? Like, we gonna do what we said
Mm.
we was gonna do. It's not our
Mhm.
problem that we getting more money for what we doing, but
Right.
it's not possible for us to produce more oil than we are right now. We can't do it. And we don't have all the tools and stuff that we used to have to do it. People didn't left, right? We need employees. We got to get permits. We need
Yeah.
refineries. We ain't got no refineries halfway in the United States. China ain't fooling with us. We can't mess with Russia. You know what I mean? So we in a position too.
Yeah.
So their whole thing is like, look, we doing the best we can, but that's what it's gonna be. And when we get to the next phase of this, then we'll see what more we can do. But for now, the price is what the price is. You're either gonna pay it or you're gonna stay at home or find another way to get where you need to go.
So what is these rumors going around where they're saying that like the gas companies actually can produce and let go of more fuel, but they're not doing it because the profit margins are so high that they're really focused on that. And they even had one gas station, I believe it was a Chevron in Los Angeles, where the news station came and reported and said that they were up to $8.05 for regular gas. And then when they put them on blast and reported them, the next day it went down to 7.
Well, good for them, right? Because LA, the gas out here is ridiculous. But this is the
Right.
deal. So it's not that they can't produce more oil right now, right? Like that's the thing. And yeah, this is a corporation, it's a business, right? So their thing is like, we have to plan out how this process is going to work because we have to put the capital up to even be able to mine it and get the oil, right? So that we can turn it into petroleum or however y'all use it. So the reality is like, yes, this is a corporation. They're going to get their money first. The humanitarian part of it, it's really nice. Like we sorry that y'all going through it down there or whatever the case may be, but unfortunately, like that's below our pay grade. What we are concerned about is making sure this business makes money so that
Yeah.
we can continue to do what we do. That's the reality of it all. So it's like, why would we produce more, right? And we're gonna get less from that. That don't make no sense as a
Mm.
business, right? Because what happens next year? Say next year the pandemic hit again, right? Just God forbid, but say we back on lockdown next year. Well, then the surplus that we got right now, we're gonna have to use that to offset whatever we lose in the future, perhaps, right? So they're always thinking forward, basically, is how
Yeah.
they move. And so, like they said, reality is like, yeah, we up right now. That's cool, but who's to say next year we don't go through the same thing we went through last year? Then we got to balance the checkbook out the same way. So we're not gonna change just because y'all being wishy-washy. That's not
Mhm.
how we move. That's not good for business.
Damn. I'm not gonna lie, it's just unfortunate because there's a lot of people that are not not working, even though there's so many jobs, and now a lot of people are not going to be able to even afford to get to work. So that's going to be less jobs or less employees working, I foresee in the future. And hopefully we come to some sort of resolution. I am legally hyped. Thank you so much for always
Of
breaking
course.
everything down for us and letting us know. Okay, so boom was good.
Okay, so boom.
Okay, let them know where they can follow you, where they can find you, so they can argue back with you if they don't agree.
First of all, I don't go back and forth with other people's kids unless you pay the fee. So let's just start there. Okay. Like, I didn't go to law school for free. But
Right.
you can find me. I am Legally Hype. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. Holla at me. Just don't be yelling at me. Okay.
I know
Holla
that's
at me,
right.
but don't yell at me.
I
Thank
know
you.
that's right. All right, make some noise for I am legally high.
Thank you. Thank you.
Woo!
We are the morning hustle.